Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast, everyone. I am so excited that you are joining us for this Heart to Heart. If it is your first time here, it's me, Bree, your host of Hearts and Stripes podcast. And I want to let you know that Hearts and Stripes is all about strengthening military marriages. So if you are here listening for the first time, welcome. Know that we are going to talk about all things military marriage. So let's dive in. I'm really excited for this episode. And I have to give a shout out. It's a really big celebration on our end. And my coach, Patrice Washington's book drops today. It's Redefine Wealth For Yourself. And I am just thrilled because it is the day when the book is finally available. I pre-ordered my copy, but I thought to honor her and this drop of this book that we would talk about wealth. And her definition, and one that I have adopted as well, is the original definition of wealth, which is well-being. So we're going to talk about wealth as it relates to well-being in our marriage today. So I am just thrilled to jump in and kind of break down her 6 pillars of wealth. So for those who may want to follow along with this, or this may be something that is a new concept for you, wealth is more than just being about money. Like when we say wealth, some people may just be talking about money, but if you hear about us talking about it here on Hearts and Stripes podcast, please know that we are talking about well-being. And what that means is it's a holistic concept. It is not just finances. And the best way to explain that is through the 6 pillars of wealth. And those 6 pillars include being fit, people, space, faith, work, and money. Those are our 6 pillars of wealth. And those are the 6 things that are going to guide our conversation today as it relates to being wealthy or having well-being in our marriages. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's tackle this first one about fit. So I love how Patrice talks about the fit pillar, and it's not just being fit in your body, but fit in your mind. And what this all plays into is the first phase of the CARE method. So y'all know the CARE method, or the marriage bridge blueprint. That is my proprietary method of how I work with women, military spouses, service women, as we break down and chart through and design the blueprint for your marriage. So the CARE method, the first phase of that is careful consideration, right? Careful consideration just means you're assessing the cost of something, you're breaking down, you're thinking through what you're trying to design, why you're trying to design it. And that's why I love this first pillar for of wealth. It's about being fit. So being fit in your body, as it relates to your marriage, may mean that you and honey take time together and you go to the gym. You set aside time for yourselves where it could be an activity that you do together. Maybe it's a walk that you do regularly. Maybe if we're talking about that other side of being fit, not just in your body, but in your mind, it's setting aside time for meditation. It may be setting aside time for you to communicate those thoughts and those emotions. And I was going to say millions of emotions, right? Those millions of emotions and thoughts and things that you experience throughout the day. Maybe you're setting aside time to discuss those things, to share with one another. So, ensuring that you're fit in your minds and also your bodies is being aware of this fit pillar and knowing that it's the first step in wellness or well being in your marriage. So, let's go on to the next pillar. The next pillar is people. And y'all, I love the people pillar. That's what we mainly discuss here. Y'all know I'm the military marriage coach. Relationship coaching is really what is at the heart of what I do. And overarching, for those who are like, well, what do all those titles mean? It's a life coach. It's really a life coach, but I focus on those relationships. So this people pillar is really near and dear to my heart. And the best way that I could break this down for your marriage is to consider the people that you have surrounding your relationship. So think for a second, who are the key players, those supportive figures, your family members, other couples, friends? Who are the people who are around your relationship, who are supportive of your marriage, or maybe those who aren't? Even more importantly, who is not in support of the direction that you're going in your marriage? Oftentimes, those outliers, those people who are around your relationship, truly do have an impact on the well being or the wealth of your relationship, which is why when I do my talking about the power of relationship, I always encourage people to guard the seats at the table, guard those positions, those roles, those people who are close to you in your relationship that you're giving permission to speak into your relationship. You got to guard those roles. You have to think through, are these people that are around my marriage relationship serving my marriage, or are they not? So those are the two pillars in our six pillars of wealth. Let's go on to the third one. And the third one is space. Now, I think space is a really great one to think through when it comes to the six pillars of wealth, because typically, when we're talking about in a marriage, you live under the same roof. So the space may be talking about your home. How, as a couple, have you been intentional about how you keep your home? What spaces have you created at home that give opportunity for you guys to enjoy each other? Maybe it's a family room, right? Maybe it's an office space that is created, that you've decided together that you will create in support of one of you working or getting after a goal. Maybe it's a reading corner. Maybe it's that's how you're going to outline your space and dedicate space to show the importance of the things that you value in your relationship. That's a crucial part of designing the marriage that you want to have based off of your core values. Your space should be a reflection of those core values. So, what are you creating space for? I know one of the things that we started here at my home was I had to set up a prayer closet, and we'll get into the faith pillar here in a second, but I had to create the space to practice my faith, to take some time and reflect, have some time for myself, really, and to talk to God and to read my word and to get those foundational things that I needed. Um, I needed space for it, right? So if you don't prioritize space in your home, then that may be something that you need to think through as you're trying to um, bring about well being in your marriage. Another thing that I want to say about space before we move on to the next pillar is, what is the atmosphere in that space? When you or your spouse thinks about going home, is it something that is a welcomed feeling? Are you excited to go home? Is there peace? Are you creating a space where there's peace in your home? Thinking through ways to do that is very critical in the well-being of your marriage, because you want your spouse and you to look forward to going home as opposed to always wanting to be outside the home. Now, I know the pandemic has gotten us pretty settled in with being at home, but thinking through the spaces in your home, how are you creating peace at home. So it's something that you're looking forward to. Are you maybe avoiding going home because you know you got that stack of laundry that's there and that's not in order? So you're dreading coming home because it's just a reminder of the list of things that you still need to do. Are there elements of your home that still needs some fix it up type of projects, and it makes you feel like you're not where you want to be in life because the things that are maybe broken physically in your home are a reminder that maybe you're not where you want to be financially. Take a second to kind of look around your space, think through different areas of your home, because the condition of your home or the way you care for that space may be impacting the wealth in your marriage. So let's move on to our faith pillar. Now, y'all know I am a God girl. Faith, I love this pillar. It is a foundational piece to what you will do in your relationship. And as I can tie that back to the care method, it's careful consideration, assessing the foundation, reinforcing the structure. In reinforcing the structure in the care method, that is where faith comes in, because typically your faith gives you a foundation of how you will live out your marriage relationship. You may be practicing a faith, or practicing those rules or those guidelines or those laws or the things that are said in your religious belief, and you're applying that to your marriage. So that provides structure in your marriage, or that's one thing I should say that provides structure in your marriage, is that faith. So I would ask, what structure, as we think about the care method, as you're reinforcing your structure, what structure or what faith, what does that look like for you? And I am super inclusive. I believe that regardless of your faith, like I said, I am a Christian, but whatever your faith may look like, are you practicing it? Are you exercising it? Are you using that as a means and applying it to your relationship so that your relationship can have greater wealth in your marriage? That is a great pillar to think through. And oftentimes I can say we don't have as many disagreements in the home because we're both looking at the same sheet of music, if you will, the same blueprint, which is faith, so that we don't have much to argue about, right? Because we bounce things off of the word to see if we're in alignment or not. So that's a great way to reinforce the structure. So again, the care method, careful consideration, assess the foundation, reinforcing the structure, and engaging and trusting. So that is the care method as it relates to these pillars. So now we have two more pillars left in our 6 pillars of wealth, and that is work and money. Work and money. So I'm going to say those together simply because sometimes they go hand in hand, right? Military spouses out there, my service women who are listening along too, work and money can be a sticking point in your relationship, right? It may be that the serving spouse could be the only person working. It could be that I'm talking to you and you are a dual income couple. Whatever that work pillar looks like for you, the question is, one, how are you supporting one another in pursuing this work pillar? And is the work that you're doing fulfilling? The reason why I ask, how are you supporting one another? And if it's fulfilling, is because if you are lacking in support of one another in that work pillar, or you're maybe going day in and day out doing something that you don't really enjoy doing, that can show up in your marriage. Think about that. If you are disgruntled about not having support, not doing something that you love, not doing something that you feel is fulfilling or meaningful, that can show up in your marriage in a way that is unhealthy. You're taking out those aggressions on your spouse. So look at that pillar, that work pillar, and assess how that may be playing out in your relationship. It may mean that you want to cross train. It may mean that you have to look at different opportunities and how you can support one another as it relates to work. And that last portion, when it comes to money, what does that mean monetarily as you look at the wealth of your marriage? I believe that marriages should thrive. In the three areas that I talk about with thriving, you have to thrive personally, you want to thrive in your marriage, and you want to thrive in legacy. And that money piece is tied to legacy. So, in doing so, we want to work for wealth. We want to work for well being. We want to ensure that we are getting the amount of rest that we need, that we're not taking on things that are super stressful. Again, you can't always control that in military life, but how are you supporting one another to balance that? How are you planning out your finances? Right? We talked about the B word in a previous episode, that budget. How are you planning out your finances? How are you planning out your money? And how does money impact your relationship? Is the lack thereof impacting your marriage in a negative way? Is having a lot of money and maybe not, being mindful of how you're spending it and using that, is that impacting your relationship? Think through these different pillars, these 6 pillars of wealth, and how it relates to your marriage. I just want to say that this is something that I do personally. I do this for myself. I go through the 6 pillars for myself and see how I can improve. And I was really excited to think through it with you as I walk through it as it relates to my marriage. And I can tell you off top, fit pillar, me and Honey need to figure out a consistent schedule so that we can both work out together. And that is going to be like number one on our list. People pillar, we've done a great job of keeping the right circle of people around us and fine tuning that, going back and checking in and ensuring that we still have the people around us that are supportive of our relationship. Space pillar, we're getting ready to PCS. So I'm thinking ahead of time the purge that maybe needs to happen of the things that we have, or how I want to set up our space once we move, to encourage a place of peace and an atmosphere of peace so that we both are excited to come there together. Faith, we're continuing to do some devotionals together so that we can practice our faith together. We're continuing to go back to the word and seeing, like, are we in alignment with the decisions that we're making in our marriage? Work, we're coming up on an exciting season where I will be doing coaching full time, y'all. So that changes some things when it comes to our money and our finances. And we're preparing for these things, and we're supportive of one another as we go through these changes that military life throws at us. That's how you walk through the 6 pillars of wealth as it relates to your marriage. So before I let you go, I have to give a huge shout out again to Patrice Washington. Thank you so much for doing the work, for bringing us this resource of the 6 pillars of wealth. And we are thrilled to be celebrating the launch of this book, which is available today, Redefine Wealth for Yourself. So I don't know if y'all want to like do a book club or something. That may be something, y'all let me know. Tell me if that's something that you would be interested in doing, because there are some amazing books that are out right now that even though they are focused on being like self-motivating books, or things that you can apply to yourself, I really would love to talk through, similar to how we did here with Redefine Wealth for Yourself, how they apply to your marriage, yourself and your marriage and your legacy, right? So we can help each other talk through maybe some different books and see how we can put the pieces together so that you can truly thrive in all 3 of those areas. That's what I'm here for. That's what I hope to guide you all through. And I hope that this episode has been a blessing to you, maybe made you think through some new areas that you need to carefully consider, right, in your relationship. Okay, everybody. So to wrap this thing all the way up, let's summarize those 6 pillars of wealth. They are fit, people, space, faith, work, and money. So I'll say them again. It's fit, people, space, faith, work, and money. So, out of our discussion, which one of those six is the one that you are going to commit to working on? I might have to bring back the EYS, earn your stripes. Let's go ahead and do it. EYS, impromptu, earn your stripes. I want to know which one of these pillars, for real, are we going to work on? You heard me run down kind of what I've been doing with mine. I think fit is the first pillar for a reason. So I think fit is what I'm going to be focused on to have wealth in my marriage. DM me. I want to hear from you. You can reach out and connect with me and share this EYS, what you're going to commit to putting some action to after this podcast by simply DMing me. It's Bree Carroll on IG. That's where I like to hang out. So hit me up, slide in my DMs, or even comments on one of the posts and let me know which one of these six pillars of wealth you are going to apply to your marriage to bring about wealth and well-being in your marriage. Again, I just want to give a shout out to Patrice Washington as her book is out today, Redefine Wealth for Yourself. Okay, guys, so now we're going to hop into my favorite portion of every episode, which is Heart Tracks. You can find the full playlist of our songs from each episode on Heart Tracks 2. That's Heart Tracks 2 on Spotify. So check that out for the entire list of songs that are tied to these episodes. So today's Heart Track is coming to you from Lecrae. And I really love this song. It's one of my favorites. It's called All I Need Is You. It's really a feel good song. I love the lyrics in there. I love how he's talking about flying home and how his spouse is his one and only, and she's there by his side through thick and thin, highs and lows. Don't let go. You know, it's just a really nice reminder of what it's like to be in relationship, in a partnership together. And really, you need one another to accomplish these six pillars. All I need is you. I want you to think about you and your spouse working on these six pillars together. I hope you enjoy this heart track. Again, All I Need Is You by Lecrae. Play it on Spotify. Go ahead, look it up. Go to Heart Tracks to jam out to all the songs that have been recommended from our past guests and that have been featured on previous episodes. So I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to EYS and let me know which one of these six pillars that we've discussed that you are going to apply to your marriage. Let's make our marriages more wealthy. Let's bring well-being to our marriages. Let's EYS and remember to continue to be Mill Marriage Strong. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.